If you've watched before, does that make you a loyal viewer? We'll explore that and more on CX Leaders' Views on Loyalty by the Numbers. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of By the Numbers, where today we are talking about CX practitioner views on customer loyalty. And that's why it's especially great that today I'm joined by none other than Jamie Thorpe, who is the Chief Experience Officer at Ipsos. Jamie, how you doing today?
Hey Andrew, great to be with you, thank you.
So let's start with our rundown. Recently, Ipsos and Medallia partnered together to survey over 800 CX practitioners to get views on the loyalty of their customer base and how they run loyalty operations internally. We have coverage from a variety of industries and also geographies like the US, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, plus a variety of role titles from manager all the way up through VP and above. So, Jamie, when we collected this data together, a few really interesting things stood out, and I would love to start by talking more around the drivers of experience and what we see from customers and CX practitioners when asking practitioners about the attributes that they believe drive loyalty to their brand. Product quality and then experience stood out more so than price did. Was this a surprising finding to you?
No, we see that a lot. We see more and more customers saying and evidencing in their actions that experience is more important to them than price. And when there's opportunities for upgrades or opportunities to get a better service, people are actually still willing to pay for that. So no, that wasn't a surprise at all.
One of the things that I think we were expecting to find was that it would be more common for CX practitioners and other brand leaders to define loyalty on more behavioral terms, meaning things like transaction frequency, repeat purchase rate, history of being a customer. And of course, these things fit into the definition, but maybe what we weren't looking to find was this evolution of how many more experiential metrics are playing a role in loyalty. Things like OSAT, participation rate, advocacy, many other measures going into this equation too. Jamie, do you have a sense of how to operate a program well to make sure that you're collecting these things and that you're really measuring them the right way?
Yeah, absolutely. When we think about what are important measures, if you like, or metrics, customer effort is really important. And we've got more and more clients measuring more and more different metrics because it goes to show that true loyalty is around a real emotional connection. So in order to get that, people need to understand what does their ecosystem look like and what do different customers want at different points in that journey.
It's rare to consider loyalty as exclusivity, right? Meaning that you can't call somebody a loyal customer only in the cases where they're transacting from you and no other brand. It's just unrealistic and it's not reflective of the more modern types of consumer behavior. When you go off of transactional measures alone, you might be lacking the ability to look forward on what a consumer is likely to do going forward, right? And I think a lot of these measures are helping you understand, are you at risk of losing them because they already do have active relationships with your competitors too?
I mean, absolutely that. And you know, brands shouldn't make the assumption just because a customer repeat spends with them that they are satisfied and they are loyal. As soon as there are opportunities to defect to another brand because there is all of a sudden another option or, you know, a slightly different offer or a slightly different spin, customers nowadays are more likely to do that.
Absolutely. And I think another thing that comes with that too, and what we've seen in our research, is the recognition from CX practitioners about, as there's an evolving means of measuring loyalty, there's also evolving strategies that come with a new generation of customers too, right? And we've seen well over 80% of CX practitioners say you need a distinct customer strategy around Gen Z versus earlier generations. And that's just another point to me that I feel like is going to separate the winners from the rest of the pack going forward too.
When we look at it through a CX lens, you think, you know, I like what this brand stands for. They share values that are important to me. When you talk about future generations, things have changed an awful lot in terms of how modern customers choose to engage with brands. When you think about it, you think about the people that are typically making the decisions on what channels should we use, how should we engage modern customers are typically older people who've come through generations of being served in a very old school traditional way. They're making decisions that says everything needs to be automated, everything needs to be Gen AI, and everything we need to go push people through channels. When you look at modern customers, they've grown up with that. And when we look at modern customers, and especially the younger generation, they think, I'm always pushed through these channels. I'd like to talk to someone. So I feel I see a real conflict, and it's really interesting when you think about how future generations are going to demand to be engaged by brands.
Well, I think that point lends itself really well to the big question of investment. We do see from our research that large proportions of CX practitioners see the ROI in loyalty initiatives and also see the financial returns in investing in customer retention versus new customer acquisition as a priority. But we also are encountering a period where more than half of CX practitioners say they struggle to properly integrate technologies that play a role in loyalty. There's a myriad of different technical systems that we asked about, where you've got across the board brands that invest in CX management, customer loyalty rewards programs, digital experience analytics, many other tools. Can you talk a little bit more around that investment and just the priority, especially now in this world of AI, of making the right decision and basically balancing your tech stack together to get the right information you need and to also act on it?
We're seeing more and more CX practitioners nowadays being challenged by the organizations to say, show me the return on this investment. In order to do that, we start to think about what are the real drivers, and there's a piece that we use called the Ipsos CX Forces that talks about the science between strong relationships, and we're looking at all of those forces. Talk about emotional connectivity. Once you understand how good the business is at driving true emotional connectivity with customers, then we start to layer on what are the things that need to be done at the right touch points and the service that needs to be delivered at those touch points to drive those engagements. That's when the tech starts to come in. But just relying on that without thinking about the context, without thinking about the touch points, the journeys, the customers, can be risky. So when you're investing, where are organizations investing, and how does the tech come together? We talk about omni-channel. A brand knows this about me already. They can see my behaviors, they can see my transactions, they know who I am, what I like. The fact that they should really, really tie together much more strongly than ever before starts to talk about how the tech stack needs to integrate together, allow front lines to drive action, but connect to what the customer really, really wants. So the tech is the enabler for me that sits in the middle, and the investment in that has to be right. If you push too many people down a certain channel and they don't want to go down that channel, then you're going to do more harm than good. So what is that channel of choice, for example, for a customer? They've no doubt either exhibited it or told you. Then where's the tech stack? And then how do you drive action at the front line? So it's all in the mix, but the investment has to be right rather than tech is the answer. Let's just put tech everywhere and automate everything. People still want that human connectivity, and there's still that emotional, that empathy, that connectivity with brands is critically important.
Yeah, I love that point. I mean, I feel like I forget where I heard it before, but there was the discussion of tech's not the thing; it's the thing that gets you to the thing, and that thing you really want is that better connection between the brand and its customer.
I would often ask organizations to walk a mile in their customers' shoes, because I don't believe sometimes that they do. So use the tech to get the basics right. Some people trying to run before they can walk, and we see that in manifest in numerous different ways across different brands, and it's a really interesting time.
Jamie, I can't thank you enough for this discussion. In the remaining time we have, let's do a little bit of rounding it off. In this session, we talked more about CX practitioner views on loyalty and first established the role of experience and how it trumps price in fostering true customer loyalty. We also talked more around the investment in loyalty and how inseparable it is from CX management in terms of the metrics used to monitor consumer behavior and attitudes, and also in the technologies needed to properly gauge consumer emotion and intent to shop with the brand going forward. We also finished off by talking more around the future of loyalty and how generationally specific strategies may play a role. If you're interested in learning more, we've got the full report linked in the description below. Jamie, thank you so much for joining me today. To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.